you have. So maybe that's even a good place to start. Somebody may feel nervous about, sharing your opinion about something, but maybe you have a question for us about anything that's going on. Yes, ma'am?
As educators, how do you guys feel about the thought that you guys would be the movement towards arming teachers and also educators like yourselves?
Yeah. So there's personal opinions and then there's professional opinions. So I'm going to share professionally. Professionally, I think that's going to be a challenge. I don't really think that is going. I think that's going to create more safety challenges than it helps. But I will tell you, we've been watching not just local and national news, but also Texas education news very closely, listening to what's going on with the legislature, listening to what's going on with the Texas Education Agency. And I'll be honest, I really think there's a very, very, very low chance, very low, that would happen. And I don't see our school board. And if it did happen, it would still be at each local area. And I don't see our district doing that. I can't promise I'm not the decision maker. But if it does happen, we will communicate that very clearly with everybody, and we'll be a part of that process. But I don't think so. What other question do you have?
Almost a pitch, I guess, because I know there have been a lot of conflicting dates with walkouts and like conflicting lengths that those walkouts will take place. But the national walkout day, the one that's been getting the most coverage, would be April 20th, which was happening at 10 o'clock for 17 minutes. And to me, that didn't seem too disruptive because 10 o'clock would be during the period presumably after teachers are and it seems like 17 minutes, is like a doable contribution to the movement. And I feel like, and this is also kind of to students since there have been other dates about like maybe a Comm Arts day or like a Northside day. I feel like participating in the national day is probably going to be the most effective, considering that like it's gotten news coverage. It's pretty much probably the only one where we would potentially get noticed or like have anything to broadcast.
You go.
All right, so I just want to ask a question. So everybody raise your hand. How many of you have an interest, like you think, hey, it would be a great idea for us to, it's okay, and again, we're not going to take names and call you into the office or anything, but how many of you think a walkout's a good idea? Yeah, okay. So what I want to hear from you is, and this is a legit kind of conversation, what is it about a walkout that you think is a good idea? Lots of hands. So I'm not going to call, just somebody go ahead and share. Go ahead. What's a good idea about a walkout?
I think it helps show solidarity, especially because we live in a state that has been known to, I guess, support guns, and especially knowing that we as students across the nation, I know schools in Florida and maybe it was Ohio have already participated in walkouts, and I know I've already had conversations with the teachers and speech about how effective it would be. She brought up the point that the people that are here would not be the people necessarily who could have the power to do anything, bring legislation, bring strictly gun legislation or any of the things that people in walkouts are fighting for. But I do believe that, especially among high school students, there is a feeling that nobody aside from us is really concerned with it, and that we as students, even though many of us are approaching the age where we can vote, we're still very powerless. And even showing the fact that so many students are willing to walk out of school, or even, as I heard that a Texas superintendent was threatening to suspend students for 3 days if they participated in walkouts, knowing that students would be willing, to risk that, even at, the cost of sustaining any kind of, educational record. In a situation like this, I
else want to comment? Okay, go ahead.
Call me an NC team, but I really don't think that the people that actually like make these decisions like don't listen to us. Like I think they kind of like they really. So we say all these things on social media and stuff, but I don't think but it really only spreads around to the people who are listening, to the people in the same age group, the people who are, and I feel like that people like the government thinks that we're incapable of making these decisions. Now, of course, like each generation like moves up, so eventually we're going to be a population that are going to be making that decision. So I think the walkouts and stuff like that will like really shows like that we're really serious about this, that we're really wanting to show that we want like all this gun violence to end. We hear it we hear it all the time, and nothing ever changes, and people talk about it every time it happens, and then it just gets washed away after a week. And I think that being able to show people that we're actually serious about stuff like this will really like show not only show the people who are making the decisions, but the people who make these decisions in the future with us to get other people involved in being able to stop this. Because I think this is a very serious event, and the fact that many people are dying. Like after the threat that was tweeted on, I went home and my parents didn't hear about it until way after I got on the bus, and kept texting me all day asking me if I was safe. And that shouldn't be happening. And for some reason, people think that keeping guns available to the public is a thing that isn't something that contributes to that, but it really is. And I think walkouts will really show why we're serious about this.
Okay, so why the walkout in general? And have y'all talked as a group about other things that we could do besides, not saying walk out X, but other things that can make a positive impact? Or your hand went up like real fast.
My dad was talking about, you know, the lie down that they did in front of the White House? About we could do a lie down as a school, and then we put it on social media, because I know you can't do that like outside on the concrete. But we could do a lie down in our school, and so we don't have to leave school premises, so there's no danger of people getting hurt or injured. Or we could do a thing, I forget when a lady did it, but to protest gun violence in like the 1950s-ish. She put a bunch of shoes for everybody who was killed by gun violence on the state capitol. And so we could possibly just get some shoes and put it for like every person that died since Trump, or every student that died during like Trump's presidency so far. We can put this on these steps of comments.
That's a great idea. Did everybody kind of hear what she said? No? So a lie down, and then shoes representing how many people have died from school shootings while Trump's been in presidency.
Well, and hang on just a second. So before we, looking at one of the things we're trying to write down is we're trying to hear from you what your goals are, right? What it is that you want to accomplish, right? What it is that's important for you to do. And so far, these are the goals that I've heard from everybody. You want to express solidarity, not only with each other, but with people in the national movement. You want to raise the level of concern about the issue of gun violence. You want to have some power, have some influence, because even though you're teenagers, you want to demonstrate that you do have influence. You want to provide hope, right, and alleviate fear. That those are some important goals. And then also, you want to show the resolve, the seriousness of students. So maybe, if it's okay, let's talk it and see if there are any other goals you have. And then we can say, all right, if these are our goals, what's the best possible way to achieve these goals, right? And maybe after conversation we decide it's a lie down, or maybe it's lining up shoes, or maybe you have other ideas for the best possible way, but we want to hear from you, right, what the goals are. So there are other goals other than these that you have right now. What else? What else?
One of the really important things to me about the walkout is the fact that it was for 17 minutes. Because I feel like it wasn't just oh, we're going to walk out and go have lunch or go do something. I feel like the importance of what we were doing after the walkout or while we were walking out, and the fact that it was for 17 minutes, 1 minute for every life in Florida last week. And so I felt like I would, whatever we ended up doing, if anything, I would want it to have something, I would want it to be honoring them.
Okay, so to honor the victims.
17.
All right.
And we're just focusing on the victims in Florida? Are we focusing on
Anyone.
Just victims in general? Okay.
Okay, what are the goals?
Your hand was up.
And then it went down.
Okay. I can get back to you. Anybody else?
You are supposed to be inside. I am in charge of your safety. You being outside bothers me. There's nobody watching you. Nobody. And you all signed contracts to behave, to come to here to this school. You were specifically chosen by myself and our team to be here. And there are better ways than doing a walkout. And then the March 13th, that's spring break, TJ, so.
Staples. No, international.
It's April.
So a walkout, and the schools that are doing walkouts are marching to the state capitals. We don't have a state capital close by to march to. Now, if we want our, state representatives to come down here, I will open up the school on a Saturday. I will stay late and have this building open so we can have a town hall meeting and talk to our congressmen or our state reps. That is perfectly cool. That is a safe, effective way for you to get your voices heard. But who's going to know that you walked out? Besides you guys putting it on Twitter, and you just said that adults don't look at Twitter. I'm really concerned, especially in light of the hoax, and I repeat, hoax that we had just this week. We can always be threatened, and there could always be a loony bird outside, right? So your safety is my number one. And you guys planning a walkout, I'll be honest, it really bothers me because I love each and every one of you. And what would happen if something happened outside? Say a car hits you. Say, Miss Beach went crazy over there and didn't see you and was coming back from lunch and accidentally hit you. Or what if there was somebody, in the apartment complex next door and
Ricardo Salazar, if you are in the building, please report to the LGI room. Ricardo Salazar, please report to the LGI. Thank you.
Since you used my name as an example, I'd like to add something.
Sure.
If a walkout is planned and people know about it, and a lot of people exit the building at one time, that draws attention to anybody who might want to do harm and give them an easier opportunity. So there's an argument against walking out.
Can I
And, well, yeah, let me say one other thing real quick. And one of the reasons that I started with goals, and I'm so glad, Gabe, that you brought this up, because we have two sets of goals that can complement each other, but they can also be in conflict with each other, right? One set of goals is about making sure our voice is heard and actually changing people's votes. The other goal that you just mentioned is kind of to make ourselves feel as one and kind of feel better. And those are two entirely separate things, right? So I would suggest that, you know, something like a walkout here would accomplish that. I think it would make you guys feel great, okay? But if your real goal is to change something, if your real goal is outside of these walls to provide hope and alleviate fear, to really show your resolve and really raise the level of concern and show solidarity with people on a national level, I guess I'm not really convinced that the way that the walkout might be planned is really going to accomplish those things. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's our concern as well.
Okay, so I think another really big goal, at least for me, is definitely coverage, like people knowing that we're doing something. And that's, to me, why the walkout is appealing, because it is a national walkout day, April 20th, and it's already getting coverage on news sources. I also feel like because we're Comm Arts, there's definitely ways that we can get around the obstacle of people not knowing what we're doing, because we are very good at communicating through social media, through other things. A lot of us know how to use film, have our own cameras, stuff like that, and could actually broadcast these things. And I even think, like, potentially if a team of Comm Arts students wanted to make a really, like, great video of those 17 minutes, I think that that is something that has potential to go viral. And things like that I think are very important, because other means of advocacy may not actually get coverage. Like, it might be great to talk to someone and tweet about something, but I really want to be a part of the movement that seems to be making the most progress and the most popularity, because if it's all of these regionalized things and each school is going about it a different way, I feel like the message isn't really going to get across. But it seems like the walkout has been getting national attention, and so it seems like that's something that we could actually get coverage on, and that people are actually going to be looking for walkouts that day. Like, I don't think any news sources are going to be looking for just anything in general, but on April 20th, I really believe that news sources are going to want to report how many schools participated in this, how many students actually did some things. It seems to me like it's the most organized on the national level, and that's why it's the most appealing, is because I feel like it's the thing that we could actually have recorded in history, not just like one meeting with one representative that isn't going to get recorded. I think news reporters are actually wanting to record this.
Your hand's been kind of flapping back there real fast.
Before we think about national, we should think about local in Texas. And an idea I have for that is that we, instead of having a walkout, have 17 desks set out on the platform that's right out there, right in front of Clavera, to where people in our local area can see that we care about this, and have the profiles on the desk of the people that died from the shootings.
Okay, so a thing about the walkout is that even if we met with a representative, for example, that representative most likely isn't going to change their minds. If we have a walkout, then we can change our parents' minds and the people around us locally. There's already a bunch of voting stuff out right now, trying to get everyone's vote. Well, if we go out there and try to combat all those representatives out there already and try to change our parents' minds, I think that's what we're trying to get at here, at least locally. Even if we don't have a capital to walk to, because it's in Austin, we don't have anywhere, we're in suburban Texas, it's pretty hard to get around. But just bringing it to the people around us, I think that's our biggest, our goal.
And is there a way to bring it to people around you without walking out and leaving the school day?
It's, okay, living here, it's kind of hard to do that. I don't have like a means of transportation most of the time, and I live in a neighborhood where I can barely walk anywhere. I can't even walk to the corner store basically. It's pretty far. So, but having a walkout, I think all of us being there and having everybody look at us, even if it's just for like in the morning and people are just driving to work, they're gonna see us and they're gonna think about it for the rest of the day. And if it is national, then News 4 or something might be covering everybody in Northside saying, oh, all these kids are doing this, and then our parents will see that again, and everyone else will see that too.
If you're trying to convince your parents, why can't y'all do that at home?
They won't listen until we do something.
Yeah.
Progress
They
takes
have
action.
conflicting views, and so if we do this all together, then it might make all the parents think together and maybe reconsider what they're voting.
Mr. Garcia.
I looked around and I see about a third of the school, which is phenomenal. If you, going back to what is the goal, if you want to change a policy, right? You walk out, you're just like the other 50,000 schools that are doing the same thing, right? I look around and I see a lot of support with each other, and I see a school that has the technology that you mentioned, Catherine, communication, right? So I think if you want to change a policy, who has to see that? The people up top, right? You've got the talent, you've got the skills. Why not do something different than what the other 50,000 schools are doing? That's just for me kind of looking at this and the support that you guys have, because the powers that be for this area are standing right in front of us. And I think if you guys can submit something as a school to those policymakers, and you think about it, maybe 10% of them have ever been teachers who make the rules for us here. Your voice is much stronger, and that's kind of what I think from it. That's my opinion, is that you've got the stuff here in the school and the administration that supports you guys, obviously in a healthy way. Why be like the others who are doing the that's just walk out, guys, your safety. That is the number one thing. If you walk out, because what can we do? Right? That's just my thing. I just want to go.
Schools that are going to be participating in this. And I think, I really love what Catherine had mentioned, and I've been thinking about the same thing. If we want to send a message, we should send a message. I mean, yes, we can do some sort of mass gathering, not maybe necessarily outside, maybe in an auditorium. We can film that, but I think what really we should do is we want our voices to be heard, so we should have them be heard. We should interview the school. We should have people say how they feel, and we can share that. I mean, we are an entire school. We can share this through whatever means that we have. We can email people that maybe our parents know that are in positions of power. We can spread it through social media. We can spread it to the news. And I think that's something that'll actually get our voices to be heard. Whereas doing something like a walkout, a disruption, can so easily be viewed as childish. And it's something that's going to be happening across the nation. And this is really the first time that we're seeing an actual collective movement for this issue that has been going on for so long. And I think we need to actually say something about it rather than just do something, because saying something is also doing something.
Sorry, I'm not really good with improv, but I think it's so amazing how many people are here, and this whole time I've been shaking. It's so powerful how all of us have come together for this, and it's so amazing, and I feel so happy right now. But I kind of agree with Mr. Garcia in that a walkout is one way to show our support for this movement, but I feel like there's so many other things we could do. We could hold a vigil or a service, and we could have a mass gathering. We could all come together and sign something and actually mail it to a representative with all of our signatures. And since all of us are together, it'll signify that we're of difference.
Well, and I love that, real quickly, I love the fact that you guys are Baker said earlier about bringing somebody here. Could you imagine? I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. Talk about encouraging. I just went to Mr. Cox's class and watched some of the videos that people did in there. Those were short videos, and yet I was amazed by the talent that all of you have, right? So the thought of even bringing a legislator here, screening a video for them in here, showing it to them, getting their reaction, having a conversation, and we've seen recently how videos from this school can get traction, not just with young people, but across the nation. So maybe that's a great idea. Go ahead.
In response to the concern that a walkout would be dangerous, yes, that's the point, but going outside the 405 to go to the bus or your car is also dangerous. Walking outside the tap, go to the cafeteria, that is also dangerous, but we still do those things. Some dangers are worth the risk. King endangered his life when he marched to Selma. Kids endangered their lives when they braved fire hoses and walked out of school to protest desegregation, and those were worth the risk. Some dangers you just have to take. I hope. And on front of that, we caught up with the massive other schools. A lot of schools are doing this, but if every school in the nation walks out, that causes a lot of tension, and tension leads to change.
Not to mention, we don't feel safe here either. Like, in our classes, we don't entirely feel safe, and I respect and I understand your concern for our safety if we go outside, but we don't feel safe here. Like, I see it on Twitter, like, I talk about it with my friends. We don't feel safe here, and I think at this point, it's been proven that videos and statements and calm discussions and signatures, the representatives don't care. They have made it plain, at least it feels to us like they honestly don't care about us and about our safety. And I know you called walkouts a disruption, and I think that's why it's important. We need a disruption because we can't have more of the same, because more of the same is more people dying. We need to make a disruption, and we need to work with schools all around the nation to make a disruption so that the people in power have no choice but to take action and to fix things.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, you said you don't feel safe here, as in Comm Arts, right? So what is it that we can do to help you feel safe? Ms. Baker found this great video, and we're actually going to go around to the classrooms, and we have this really good plan to do some remodeling. So when we have lockdowns, it's a different route that you guys are going to take, and you're going to be holding up things to stop trajectory of whatever might come your way. So we're trying. So if you have ideas to help us, please send them our way. Use the mailbox. Or come talk to us. We want to hear. So do you have any comments on what can help you feel safer here?
What can help me feel safer here is if our legislators pass laws to make sure that people can't get semi-automatic guns and bring them to schools.
Okay, so in the meantime, while that's getting all worked on, what else can we do?
You guys have done everything you can that's possible, and we really appreciate it. But now we've reached the point where we can't go any further than that. And we've seen it before. Like, every school now has equal protection, and everyone has lockdown drills, but it still happens, and everyone has security. And the cop working at Sandy Hook didn't even encounter the shooter when the shooting happened. There's so many things we can do, but they won't stop the deaths.
That wasn't at Sandy Hook. And guys, a lot of people have their hands up, so don't just start free talking. Have your hand up, and when you're called, then you can speak on.
You mentioned like remodeling the way that we do our lockdown drills, and I think that is very reassuring, but then again, I don't think it will make us seem or feel any more safe. Personally, when I see videos of children at school practicing active shooter drills, it terrifies me. The thought of me having to hold up my world history textbook to block a shooter terrifies me. So I think, yes, we should work on our lockdown drills, but I think there is much more to be done.
I think just an all-around thing, how we see like we're all spitting out change at the same time. But an all-around thing is that we want change, but at the same time, we don't want the wrong change. Yes, we want to be protected, but we don't want to be stalked with cameras 24/7, metal detectors all over the place, because I don't know about you, but the thought of having to be protected like that scares me myself. If anything, having to be stalked 24/7 around school scares me more than just the chance of someone walking into the school with a gun. I don't want to be watched 24/7. Yeah, I want to be made sure that I'm protected, but I don't want to have someone hawking over my back saying, "Hey, are you okay? Do you have a gun?" It's just, I feel like it just disrupts more.
Okay, so to add on to what On said and how you said about making the lockdown drills better, I think that's kind of protecting ourselves from the problem but not addressing the problem, and I think that's what we need to do. Like what Erica said, make a disruption is to address the problem, not just hide from it.
I feel like, I really like what Zach said, putting the desks out there, because it's us addressing the problem. We're saying something about it, that we care, that we want to change it, but we're not putting ourselves in danger. I feel like school should be a safe place. Like when my grandparents, I remember in elementary school, there was a shooting, or there was a bomb threat or something, and the principal came outside and opened all the doors and said, "Thank you
for bringing your child to school today will make sure that they're safe. I feel like we're not doing that. Like, I personally feel safe at this school because I know who leads it. Like, I feel extremely safe with all of y'all, but I understand the people who don't, and I feel like we should do something about that. I don't have any ideas on how, but I know that we should make school a safe place again. Like, we shouldn't be worrying about, oh, I don't want to go to school today. We shouldn't have to text each other, hey, be safe today. That shouldn't be something that we're saying.
Now that we're all together, I'd like to ask for like an official organization or some form to where we can all agree on collective efforts. That way we're all on the same page on what's going to be done. And I feel like that could also be something that you guys could do to help us feel more safe in the school. If we could have one organization dedicated to have comments from each student, produce like more thoughts like this for them and things like that. If we could be more organized in this, I feel like we could avoid possibly harming each other, like doing demonstrations that could possibly harm us. Rather, we could think of more progressive ways to do what we want to accomplish. And I feel like if we did have some form of clear organization, it could help us out in the long run.
I just want to point out that last year we had like a 30-minute assembly about how girls can't wear jeans with holes in them, but we just need to have something to address this problem in school. Because if we can take time to talk about clothing, then we can have time to talk about people who lost their lives to this problem. I just don't think that we should sit still about it. I don't think a walkout is necessarily the only way to handle this problem, because I think there's lots of peaceful ways to do things that make a difference, but I think it has to be done at school, because I think that's when it makes the most impact, because it's like someone mentioned before, it's about disrupting routine, which is something that is like a very big deal. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is. But even if we take 30 minutes out of our day and just shove everyone to an auditorium and just talk about it, and you can still film that thing, just taking time away from class, which is what people really are the ones worrying about, is like not having their education. This is educating like more than we've had before. Like, it's not math, it's what's happening in today's society. We need to address it.
I mean, the point of going to public school is so we can finally have like our own thought process, our own like, you know, just making our own decisions overall. And like, what's the point of teachers taking the time to like enforce us like that we have freedom of speech if at the end of the day like we're kind of told not to? Not here, because I know you guys are concerned about our safety, but yeah, like what's the point of, you know, our teachers telling us to like show our voice and our freedom of speech if at the end of the day we're kind of being told not to?
I know that a walkout, you know, to some people it seems like a bad idea, but to me it's not just because we're leaving and we want things to change. To me, it also represents how those students and those people who were murdered last week never had the chance to leave. So we're demonstrating what they can never do, to like unite together and try to make the biggest change that we can. And because adolescents are viewed as, you know, children, and we shouldn't, you know, interject into governmental things because we don't know what's going on. It seems like that's the only thing that we can do, and that we can organize to where it's the entire nation, and not just one school, not just two schools. And it's the only thing that's gotten so far, like Kat has said. It's the only thing that we can all do, all the adolescents can do together.
I just want to say real quick, I love what Ethan said, and I think we need to be mindful of that we can't assume that everybody at Comm Arts has the same opinion on everything, because then we're not valuing everybody's individual opinion. So that was powerful, Ethan. Thank you for reminding us of that. Second, y'all are smart and intelligent, so who's doing the research on things like which congressperson accepts money from the NRA and how much? Who's doing the research on letter writing and who your congressmen are so you can write a letter? I'm an old person who has served as a delegate at conventions, participated in block walking, has been a part of the political world for a long time as an old person, and I'm telling you the best way for change is the old-fashioned writing a letter to a congressperson. And that is exercising your freedom of speech. They know, they're not going to discount you for being a high school student. They know you are a future voter. They know your parents vote. That's powerful. And if you do the same form letter, that's not as powerful because I've worked in political offices. They know the form letters. Individual letters are powerful. And that's just from an old bird who's did that stuff in her former life.
Any of the teachers that are here, do y'all want to say anything?
Scott? With the exception of the freshmen, everybody in this room has read Letter from Birmingham Jail.
Yes.
You've all read Antigone.
Yes.
This is stuff we talk about. I am proud of you for caring about your society. There are consequences to civil disobedience. Those kids from Florida who are changing our country right now are all AP students. That's why they're effective. Because they know their stuff, they're smart and eloquent. If you care about this, you figure out a way to use your intelligence and your eloquence to move things. This is Rosa Parks here. This is not history, this is right now. I am not telling you what to do or not to do. I agree, I'm a parent, just like everybody here. I think all the teachers here are parents. I care about your safety, number one. I don't have any easy answers for you, but I'm proud of you.
So, I teach U.S. history, and I think that we could look at all of those that had successful movements. Gandhi, Martin Luther King. So let's look at what he did, right? He was smart and he was intelligent, he had his PhD, but he led peaceful demonstrations, right? And like Mr. Scott was saying about the letter from the Birmingham jail, that is the most powerful. Let's do this smart. We're Americans, we have the right to voice our opinions on things, and we have a right to change things. But let's do it intelligently and smartly. And you guys are so bright, and you're so smart, and every last one of us love you. And we would do anything for your safety. But it's your voice, and let's do this smart. Let's write those letters. Let's work together, and let our voice be heard. Because demonstrations are great, but the power of the pen through history and the power of the voice is what moves and changes the world.
Sure. So I was a sophomore when Columbine happened, and very next year, clear backpacks everywhere, right? Clear backpacks. Year after that, what happened? What do you think? They forgot. Things change. If you want to make a change, remember. A lot of you can't vote yet. That's going to change something. So remember this, because that's the only way you're really going to make things change. It'll leave your memory occasionally. Life goes on. But don't you ever forget this. When you vote in local, vote in state, and don't ever forget this. That's all I have to say.
Well, I'm a U.S. government teacher and economics teacher, but a lot of you guys are here, I didn't see a lot of seniors in here so much, but there's some of y'all in here. But just one thing I wanted to push with my seniors is
without some sort of consequences or ramifications. And I think what's most important is to start a public discourse between us and our representatives. And I think a way we could do that would probably be writing letters, and that's a very popular choice. But we should do something that we excel in, and that might be making a video. And that can be a video that involves everybody's viewpoint, and they can say what they want to say, and then we can send it, we can spread it, because there's a lot of social media. And I think what's so successful with the people in Florida right now with creating public discourse is that they're eloquent, like Mr. Scott said. Your point of view has to be insightful. It has to be informational. And so if you can write a letter or write something down, you can have something to say, and you can put it in that video, and we can share the video with everybody.
And this is why it's good making a video, and she's in connections with PBS, which has, a lot of viewers. People in power will listen, and so if you were listening to the announcements, which I know a lot of you don't, let's be honest, she said what her Twitter handle is. It's Comm Arts Media, and they're doing videos, and they're willing to interview any one of you.
Ms. Baker, I say we don't just send it to PBS. I mean, let's send it to the president, let's send it to the Congress, and let's send it to the Senate.
Sure.
And let them all see it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the problem with writing letters is that a letter can be thrown away. Like, our representatives don't have to listen to us, even though we vote them in to necessarily listen to us. So I think that the most effective way to get into the heads of representatives, voters, etc., is that we need to do something that has the potential for thousands, hundreds of people to see. Because even if we could change the mind of one person, that creates kind of a domino effect. And that's why I think that the walkout would be a positive thing, even though I know that it's unpopular in the administration.
Anybody else with new ideas or Emily, did you speak up?
I haven't spoken yet, but I just wanted to see if you could call on TJ, because he's had his hand raised this entire time.
I know, but TJ has already spoken, and I'm trying to get everybody that hasn't spoken yet. Okay. TJ, what do you have to say?
Would be one way to do it. I feel like all of you guys have really great ideas, and I feel like all of them combined can make an even more impactful message. And to answer Mrs. Skidmore's, not say anything and then also have to risk my life, because there's still a possibility that we can also get shot inside the pool. So I feel like people that want to do something can do something and should do something. And the people that don't want to do something don't have to go outside. And if they have a problem, they can also make their own protest, a counter protest, which I don't think are like always the best, but those exist. Like Ethan's point was that people that don't want for Comm Arts to be represented as a school that is against gun restriction and gun laws, they can make their own counter protest and make it nationwide if they want. But I feel like the students that want to possibly risk their lives should have that freedom to feel like they should risk their lives for this. And I'm honestly willing to do that.
Dakota?
Okay, I apologize, I've been writing notes this whole time. So the first thing it's gonna take a long time. Okay, first thing is that at the beginning someone said that we should do a vigil. That's kind of sticking along the lines of thoughts and prayers and we should stay silent about it, and that's the problem in the first place. They don't want our thoughts and prayers at this point, they want change. Representatives aren't gonna want a letter. I know we say that writing worked in the old days, but in the old days, people didn't get shot in their schools 18 times in 2 months. So I think we shouldn't rely on our history when we come up with something new, because the problem is that we haven't had change.
Dakota, can I stop you? Can we focus on positive? I don't like poo-pooing other people's ideas. So if you could just look at your notes and tell us what you want to say that's positive. I don't like, I want to value everybody's opinion in here, and I want everybody to feel open that they can express their views, and I don't like that. So look at your notes.